Was for most of the painters at Amsterdam one of the most lucrative pastimes. Many of the wealthy merchants of the East Indian Trading Company and many of the other businesses being established here in the 1600s, which were the boom years in Holland here, were very lucrative for the local painters. Oh, Rembrandt met his beloved Saskia van Ouwenborgh, who he married in 1635. And they lived together at which is now one of Amsterdam's most famous museums, known as the Rembrandt House. The second youngest of a family of 9, Rembrandt was born in the village of Leiden, 1606. Little did he know that he was to become one of Holland's most famous painters to this day.
Rembrandt House was built in the early 1600s, and the artist actually lived and worked here for over 20 years. Today, the exhibits number some 250 paintings and etchings. The original presses and furniture are also on show. Of the 40 or so museums, Rembrandt House has to be the top of everyone's list. But no one is expected to live on art alone. Still in inspiring surroundings of splendid and modern decor, the rear gardens of the Grand Hotel make a great venue for afternoon tea, cakes, and a little rest.
Ook wel. Maar daarna...
Ja, dat doet er niet.
Dankjewel.
Een jammetje bij.
Snap je? Dank je jij? Echt heel serieus.
Fashionable and without doubt the place to spend an hour or so during the afternoon, the famous coffee house of the American Hotel. Above the cafe is the Deluxe Hotel, built in Art Deco style, but down here the regulars mix merrily with visitors, all enjoying tea, coffee, snacks, and the relaxed atmosphere of the place. If budgets are somewhat tight, don't worry. Follow the modern-day troubadour to the nearby square and the outdoor life of the younger, more cost-conscious traveller. A short bus ride out of town is the popular seaside resort of Volendam. The harbour is pretty and quite busy in the season, which starts around Easter. The spring season, by the way, is known as the tulip and windmill season of Holland. On the quayside, the local dancers entertain. Volendam, the bulb fields, Waterland, and other nearby excursions can be easily arranged locally. Amsterdam Travel has city centre offices and will book you just about any trip, even at short notice. These flatboats, and there are about 50 of them out at sea, obviously enjoying the first warm sunny days of the season, were instrumental in saving thousands of lives in Amsterdam during the last war. They ferried food and provisions during the night from the seaside, saving many Dutchmen from starvation. Volendam is a fun day out, and if you do catch them dancing on the quay, make sure you have plenty of film in your camera. Another popular day trip and camera opportunity from Amsterdam is Zaanse, where wind power is harnessed by these huge old windmills. Many are still used for production, though owned by the Dutch Windmill Society, who lease them out. The 20-metre sails keep up a good speed, forcing the 2-ton grindstones around. Nowadays, making them economically viable is sadly no longer possible. Tulips. Tulips. And more tulips. What would a trip to Amsterdam be without a stroll among the thousands of colourful spring flowers? Keukenhof Gardens is truly magnificent on a clear and sunny day. You drive past thousands of acres of glorious tulip fields. Should you not have time for this short excursion, don't miss out on the bulbs altogether, but visit the flower market by the Munt Tower. Although Amsterdam today is still full of controversy, the change since the mid-80s is considerable. Seedy drug dealers, tatty shops and bars, squatters and general decay have all but gone to find new homes. Smoking soft drugs is not illegal. Indeed, this hash museum extols the virtues and versatility of the plant. Follow Marilyn and go into the sex museum on Damrak only if you're prepared to be shocked, or if your sense of humor extends to being accosted by a flasher, even though it's fake. The condomery is quite a laugh. Do have your sense of humor handy, even though real live visitors, customers no less, find it more like a supermarket than a tourist curiosity.
The modern human being confronted in a situation which is in relation to nature as well as the modern industrial world. So you see here frames which are industrial material, neon light, and an asphalt coverage.
The Museum of Modern Art is exactly that. Modern and sometimes controversial, to many an opportunity to expand the imagination and our conception of ordinary things around us.
Of the late work of Edward Munch from the Munch Museum in Oslo that we combine with works from contemporary artists like Karel Appel. And you see here the work by Munch with his orchard, his studio with models, horses.
Amsterdam today affords the opportunity to experience much that we could not easily find in any other European city.
With a later generation of Edward Munch.
Art is everywhere, or so it would appear. This diamond, named after Rembrandt, is on display at the Hendrickson Diamond Factory.
The cut is the shape. Should be an official cut, like a brilliant cut, it's a round shape. Marking cut, oval cut, heart shape, etc.
Diamond cutting started here during the late 16th century and has carried on ever since. Some notable stones like the famous Indian Koh-i-Noor or Mountain of Light were cut in Amsterdam. Getting around the city on foot, by tram or canal boat is simple and quick. The Dutch are very practical, which explains the existence of the botel or boat hotel floating on the Amstel, where else, offering an authentic experience for the less conventional. For everyone else, the tourist office, conveniently nearby, provides information on everything, not least where to stay in town. Hotels are plentiful, although often frustratingly booked out, so in spite of a very friendly reception, you could find yourself not in the botel, but next to it on a bench along the water's edge. The solution is quite simple. Book ahead with an operator, particularly if you intend to be in Amsterdam on Queen's Day in May or on other busy days of the Dutch calendar. Whatever you do, do not take your car into Amsterdam. This is a city made for walking, as well as cycling and riding on the trams, but definitely not for driving. Shopping streets are mostly pedestrian and all quite neatly packed together. For shopaholics, can we recommend that once you've done the Daanstraat, the Jordaan, the Magna Plaza and the Leidsestraat, you save some money to spend at Schiphol, which is an airport, a giant shopping mall, casino and entertainment center all in one. Otherwise, take advice from your guide.
There's quite a few places to go. If you're interested in markets, we're going to be coming past one in a moment. It's just at number 16 and 19 on your map. It's called the Waterloo Plain, and that's a nice flea market.
Bric-a-brac, clothing and plenty of trash too, but there's always the prospect of picking up a bargain. Going to a market is fun and less intensive, probably a great deal less costly too. Do watch your back pocket or purse though. Someone else could spend your money if you're not extra careful.
Maar die we net in de Salverstraat hadden, waren gevoerd, hè? Die waren gevoerd en deze is één vol. Heerlijk. Die we in de Kalverstraat, het waren warme, het waren winterjassen.
Oh, look at this.
After shopping, we couldn't resist the pancake house. Okay, it's got plenty of calories, but the good news is that it's truly superb. Ask about the pancake house on Prinsengracht next time you're visiting Amsterdam. You'll love it. Kanaalbus, pronounced kanaalbus, is the sort of hop-on, hop-off transport system that makes getting around in Amsterdam quite simple and inexpensive. You can board at any of the half a dozen prime locations for getting to major sites within Amsterdam. They run every 30 minutes and provide inexpensive sightseeing opportunities. One of the stops on their itinerary is Anne Frank's house, now a permanent museum, but during the last war, the hiding place for the Franks family. Today, it's a virtual shrine to the memory of Anne, who kept a detailed diary of her years in hiding on the top floor of the house. Everything is preserved as authentically as possible, with pictures still hanging on the walls as they did then. Anne's diary was found after the war, published and translated into dozens of languages. Sadly, Anne wasn't to see that day. Happily, though, Amsterdam today is a very different city. Amsterdam is not really very old. In fact, the most ancient building is on this little tucked-away square. The city site was underwater until the River Amstel was dammed around 1270. A village started here, and the present Dam Square is believed to be on the site of the old dam. The village was called Amsterdam. The rest, as they say, is history. Amsterdam is best visited in late spring, or perhaps early summer, when the warmth of the sun begins to bring the flowers into bloom, and the excitement of the locals can be seen and felt just by walking around the streets. Amsterdam today is just a modern version of the Amsterdam of yesterday. Curious traditions still live on, unlikely to change even in years to come. Hopefully.
One of the traditions is the renting of the barrels. In former days, those barrels were used for selling drinks, and nowadays the barrels are rented by companies. So they have their own private barrel, they have their own key. They come in, they get a can and glasses, and they can take their own drinks out of it. If you have a barrel, you can come in and have a drink.
Goeie.